In some respects, a follow-on round is easier in that the company already has an existing security, such as Series A, and an existing set of financing documents upon which to base its follow-on round, perhaps Series B. So the importance of the precedential effect of Series A terms is never quite appreciated until the Series A concessions are magnified through the Series B, Series C, and Series D rounds. But a follow-on round is more difficult because now, in addition to the company and Series B investor negotiation, there is a company and Series A negotiation because the company usually needs the support of its Series A investors to do the Series B round. And also a Series A and Series B negotiation in which the existing investors and new investors jockey for position and determine the relative priorities of their rights and powers in the company's capital structure. In other words, will the new investors sit alongside the existing investors, or will the new investors sit above the existing investors with superior rights? The outcome of these negotiations in turn informs how the Series C and subsequent investors will be integrated into the company's capital structure. A down round occurs when a startup raises a round of financing, say Series B, at a price per share that is lower than one of its prior rounds of financing, say Series A. This could be the result of poor execution by the startup, poor fundraising practices by the startup, such as waiting too late to raise money and thus beginning the process from a position of zero leverage, or marketplace forces over which the startup has no control, such as sector disfavor, contraction of the venture capital industry, or poor macroeconomics generally. When this happens, the Series A investor is compensated for the dilution that it suffers by the conversion rate at which Series A is convertible into common stock, increasing to a rate of greater than 1-to-1, such as 1 to 1.25. This conversion rate adjustment is designed to give the Series A investors more ownership for their investment without having to invest any additional money. This anti-dilution adjustment, of course, hurts the poor common stockholders because it reduces their overall percentage of ownership in the company on an as-converted basis. There are many tricky mechanics involved in a down round, so that the Series B price per share is calculated taking the Series A anti-dilution adjustment into account. There are also thorny legal issues that arise when a down round is led by existing investors in the company. In any venture capital financing, an investor should end up owning that percentage of the outstanding shares that is exactly equal to the percentage of the post-money valuation contributed by that investor. In other words, an investor that contributes 20% of the post-money valuation should end up owning exactly 20% of the outstanding shares. There are industry customary ways that post-money valuation is determined, the most basic of which is simply adding the amount of capital invested to the pre-money valuation. For example, a company that raises $2 million on an $8 million pre-money valuation will have a $10 million post-money valuation. You would be surprised the number of times that we see spreadsheets that yield investors 19.79% or 20.12% ownership when the golden rule tells us that investors should get exactly 20%. The golden rule is particularly susceptible to being broken in a down round when an inexperienced modeler fails to properly take into account the conversion rates of each series of preferred stock. A recapitalization is a financing in which prior investments are rearranged, recharacterized, and restructured to achieve a particular result. There are many different types of recapitalization, but most of them are architected with a focus on either preserving or eliminating liquidation preferences of previously issued preferred stock, priorities among previously issued preferred stock, and investment valuation differentials among previously issued preferred stock. The pay-to-play is a financing mechanism to incentivize prior investors to participate in a new round of financing, particularly during troubled times. The mechanism works by rewarding participating investors and punishing non-participating investors, depending upon how much they invest in the new round of financing. There are many different variants of rewards and punishments, ranging from automatically converting non-participating investors' preferred stock into a shadow series of preferred stock with almost identical rights, but perhaps missing one or two rights, such as the right to participate in future financings, to automatically converting non-participating investors' preferred stock into a much smaller number, perhaps 1/100th, of the number of shares of common stock.